Alex Jones. At this point, you know exactly what happened to Alex Jones, which I've been covering for the past 3 days. I think it's the funniest story. We have been smoking on that Alex Jones pack for the past 3 days. Now, I'm going to try to parse through the legal jargon. Okay. Originally, Alex Jones lost a defamation suit against the Sandy Hook parents. This trial that we've been watching is specifically for awards, compensation for the victims. Now, there's two different types of awards that you get in a civil suit like this. You have the punitive damages, and you have another type of damage that's like the punitive damages are multipliers, basically. Yesterday's revelation on the awards that Alex Jones, on what compensatory and punitive, right? Yesterday's damages that we found out were compensatory. Am I saying that right? I don't fucking know if I'm saying that right. Doesn't matter. But the compensatory verdict was given yesterday. Okay, obviously it varies state by state. Some states will add on like a max cap. Some states will say you can only go up to 10x of the compensatory damages as far as like the punitive damages goes. So you get two different types of payout in a situation like this. Okay, the compensatory damages is basically a direct compensation to the victims for all of the emotional damage or all of the fucking, struggles that they had to go through, the hardships that they had to withstand, right? Like in Alex Jones's case, this one individual family that sued him is suing him specifically because they had to like switch homes. They were stalked non-fucking stop. You know what I mean? So there's a lot going on there. Okay. Now, with respect to Alex Jones's case, here's Pope Hat, who will reveal more information here. The compensatory verdict in the Alex Jones case is a few $1 million. I was told there would be no math, not the $150 million that was requested. So originally they requested $150 million. That's a big payout. I think they deserve it. But of course, that $150 million is, I think, compensatory and also the punitive together. Now, the ultimate number that they arrived at is $4.1 million. The function of compensatory damage is to compensate, not punish. So now you have the secondary, the punitive damages that are supposed to come out today. So $1 million in compensatory damages for harm that is primarily emotional distress is actually pretty high and likely appropriate. Now, on the punitive phase, notes on that. Punitive damages, like it says in the name, are to punish. Okay, but there are constitutional limits to punitive damages. Two factors control the defendant's assets and the multiplier of punitive damages to compensatory damages. So some states allow you to go all the way up to 10x. I think Texas only allows you to go up to like 5x or something. I'm not entirely certain on the extra details. I'm just trying to give you a ballpark here. So there is definitely that as well. There's that reality there as well. There's also an additional hurdle here. Alex Jones went into bankruptcy court and is currently undergoing bankruptcy proceedings, specifically so that he could halve his assets, as he also personally mentioned, and make himself seem like he is a lot more poor than he actually is. This is just for one parent, by the way. Yes, I know. This is just for one parent. I know, one family. As to the assets, the punitive award can't reach an excessive percentage of the defendant's net worth. What percentage? Ask a Texas lawyer. In California, is generally not supposed to exceed 10%. Also, the net worth on top of that can be massaged, as Alex Jones has done already, right? And is that illegal? Well, it's immoral, but everything Alex Jones has done is immoral, so who the fuck cares? And also, our legal... our laws, our legal system, and our criminal justice system, and even our civil litigation system specifically revolves around defending the wealthy and defending their assets and sheltering them as adequately as possible in situations like this. So, of course, technically, it's, this is the way that the system is designed. So Alex Jones is taking advantage of that because he's a piece of shit. That's not surprising. Remember, he's literally in a court case specifically for defaming the parents of Sandy Hook victims, like parents whose children were fucking murdered in a school shooting, and he just shamelessly said it was fake and sent the most psychotic wingnuts, right-wing nut jobs up these parents' asses for years on end, including people shooting at their cars and shooting at their homes and shit. So, you know, he is also a complete and total utter piece of shit, okay? As we have seen through the court case, even in the awards trial, he literally, in a defamation suit that he lost, during the awards trial, when the proceedings were ongoing, he refused to show up to court, said he had a medical reason for not showing up to court, and then fucking turned around and defamed the judge, claiming that the judge was a pedophile. So, you know. As to the compensatory to punitives ratio, Texas seemed to follow the general trend that the ratio has to be single digit, maybe low single digit in most cases. Here's an example of the elaborate analysis of whether the ratio is excessive. You might get away with a higher ratio if compensatory damages are very small for some reason and the conduct is very bad. But when you have a big compensatory verdict, it's going to be very hard to get it way more than 9-1 and challenging above 5-1. So if I'm right that the compensatory damages are around $4 million, don't expect punitive damages award above, say, $36 million to be upheld by appellate courts. Was the plaintiff's $150 million ask ever plausible? Not really. That would require super high compensatory damages, and jurors don't actually hand out big bucks like that. That's the other thing. There were 12 jurors. 2 of them did not sign off on it. Did they not sign off on it because they were fucking info warriors and thought Alex Jones deserves to pay $0 because he's a brave truth teller? Or did they refuse to sign off on it because they decided to, did they refuse to sign off on it because they thought he deserved, the parents deserve more? Okay? And is all you need anyway, though. Plus, there may be some other Texas statutory limits on punitive damages. I will let Texas lawyers chime in on those. As Mitch suggests, in addition to Texas having low cap on punitive damages, it requires the jury to be unanimous, and they weren't on compensatory damages. Of course, maybe 2 holdouts wanted to award $100 million, but I don't read juror. This is more of a comment than a question, and it's about Christopher Hitchens in that way. So, what the fuck is wrong with him that he thought defaming the judge on a defamation case was a good idea? He didn't just defame the judge and call her, infer that she was a pedophile. He also used footage of like her face on fire, basically, to promote his news coverage. Okay. And not only that, but also he called the jurors stupid too. So he literally said the jurors, you know, the people who are directly responsible for figuring out exactly how much money he has to pay, he said they were like dumb. So yeah, let's see what he is.
Alex Jones has been ordered to pay more than $4 million to the parents of a 6-year-old boy who was killed in the Sandy Hook massacre. This follows the dramatic trial where Jones admitted that the massacre happened after years of telling his listeners.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he's mentally ill. I mean, if you ask Alex Jones, he has said that he's a little bit of silly Billy himself on numerous occasions. So we'll see.
As Nancy Chin reports, that's only part of what he may eventually have to pay.
I will accept this as a verdict of the jury.
Marking the first time Alex Jones will be held financially responsible for repeatedly claiming the 2012 Sandy Hook shooting was a hoax. The radio show host must pay more than $4 million to Neil Heslin and Scarlett Lewis, the parents of Jesse Lewis, a 6-year-old who died in the massacre.
Jesse was real. I am a real mom.
The verdict comes after the parents this week recounted years of harassment from Jones's followers.
I can't even describe the last 9.5 years of the living hell that I and others have had to endure.
In Jones' own testimony Wednesday, he conceded under oath the shooting actually happened.
It's 100% real.
and was caught off guard when lawyers for the family said Jones's attorneys had mistakenly shared years worth of his texts that showed he withheld evidence.
I mean, if I was mistaken, I was mistaken, but you got the messages right there.
After the verdict,
He called it a oopsie moment, which his lawyers also had one of those. There's a lot of oopsie moments in the Alex Jones saga. On the first hand, he's like, oh, it was an honest mistake. Who amongst us, ladies and gentlemen of this jury, who amongst us is not, went on a mass harassment